Hey folks, it's day 47 of the devlog. We have learned something this morning. How to do chapters on YouTube videos. Woo! Right, so today what we're going to do is we're putting a hold on the procedural closing because there's certain things that need done before that will theoretically work, and we're trying to figure out the best way to go about it. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to remove this guy for the moment, and we're going to look at our, now as you can see here, we are starting in a sitting position, and I shouldn't have stopped that. Right, so we are starting in a sitting position, and our camera is in the wrong, not the wrong position, but it's not set up correctly. As you can see, if we don't start in that position, then we get a nice view. Okay, so the object is to find out if we are sitting, and if we are, to move the camera. This is going to be on begin play. Then we're going to write a couple of probably a couple of custom events that are going to lerp our camera in and out in those circumstances. So let's get on with it, shall we? So we're going to open our pawn, and this is our stand up. Okay, so these are our two different variables. Okay, basically one for stand up, one for sit down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a custom event, and we're going to call it lerp to sitting, and then the other one we're going to duplicate this. These will be slightly different regarding timelines, but we'll sort that out in a second. Should really be lerp camera to standing, and this will be lerp camera to sitting. Okay, compile that. Now what we're going to need here is a timeline, and this is going to be TL camera to sitting. We're going to duplicate this in a minute. Okay, so we are basically going to take this and basically, so we're going to duplicate this, right? We're going to move this down a bit. We're going to move this one up. And this camera boom length, we're going to duplicate that. Okay. And this is going to be sitting. This one we're going to call standing. Then we're going to have camera offset, sitting, camera offset, standing. Okay. So the camera length sitting is going to be, well, is actually going to be sitting 300 and standing 185, right? Offset for here, sitting is going to be 0, standing is going to be that. Okay, so all we need to do now is lerp between the two. Okay. And we could do this in reverse. We could use one timeline for this and just do a reverse. Right? So what we're going to do is a float track. We can't do it because of two different times. Right? We could still do it, but hey ho. Right? New track. And we'll call it alpha, and to sit down takes 1.5 seconds. Okay, and we're going to add a key and the key. This one is going to be a 0, 0. This one is going to be 1.5 and 1. Then we can shrink down to view. That's save. Okay. And that's basically that. Go back to our event graph. And probably what we'll do here is move this across here, and then we'll tidy it all up in a minute. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a lerp, and it's going to be a vector, and then we're going to do another lerp, just basically a lerp. Right. So we are going to lerp one from the other. Right. So we're going to get, so this is 2 sitting, okay? So we're going to lerp from standing to sitting. Okay, and our alpha is going to go into both of these. Then we're going to get our offset standing. And offset sitting. And that's going to go into there. Okay. And then we're going to grab these. Just as a guide to what we need to do here. So our value here goes in here. Our value here goes in here. And we're done. Delete that. And we can tidy this up a bit by moving these about. Okay, so we can move this back a bit, then move these back a bit. Hey Tarkov mate, how are you today? We're doing a bit of lerping today. Making our transition from standing to sitting a little more, what should I say, smooth. Smooth is the word. Okay, so our next thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate that. Apparently we're not. Right. Compile that just now, and then I forgot about you guys again. Make it a bit bigger for you guys so that you can see it. 1.25 seems to be a happy medium. Right. This is going to be TL. Oops. I believe that's going to be sitting. It's actually camera standing. Okay. Camera to standing. Okay. Now this is actually going to be 1. Hi Miserfist, how are you? Thank you for the comment the other day in the trailer. I appreciate the feedback. So we are going to change this to time 1. Yes, basically you get a, I can't remember if it's not, I think if you get Amazon services you can get 50 gig free. Then if you get GitHub desktop, right, you can basically create branches and stuff. Hi Aladius. Now to be honest, Tarkov, the best way to do it is to use this, right? But I didn't set this up. It was my colleague who set this all up, right? So the best way to do it is to ask in the Discord for Two Mad Monkeys, and he can tell you there are different things. We don't use Parsec, we use GitHub, and then you can use GitHub Desktop here, right? But you can have a look at Parsec, and if you want to know how we do it, then ask in the Two Mad Monkeys Discord. Okay, which is the one for the game, right? And I'm sure Ken will be quite happy to give you an overview of how you do it. But it can be a pain in the neck to start with until you've got, both of you have got the groove of how you do things, right? It can be a bit sticky up until that point. There is another one, another really famous one, but I'm pretty sure it's not free. I can't remember what it's called, but there is a few solutions out there. But if you use Amazon AWS, you get 50 gig free, right? Which should be enough if you're being sensible. Right, okay, the easy way to do this is to copy it and paste it over here. And what we basically do is we swap these around. Okay. So that goes in there. That goes in there. And swap these around. Oops. I need to actually find a way of stopping that mouse button doing that. It's a button on the side of the mouse, and if I accidentally press it, it's basically the same as like a back or something. Right. So now, in theory, we should be able to remove these. Right. Ah, okay, laddies. Right, so camera, left camera standing. Left camera to sitting. Okay, let's see if that works, shall we? Ain't gonna work to start with because I haven't done the begin play yet, but we'll do that in a second. But you can see there that worked lovely. Look at that. Oh. Well, not quite so good. was lerp to standing, wasn't it? A second. There's quite a lot of things I don't know. I'm not very good at materials. I'm not very good at animation, although I can hack my way through it. Right, so there's something going on here. Let's check whether it's standing or sitting, right? Right, so sitting works fine. Standing doesn't. It's not lerping. Yep, day 47, Screen Apple. Ah, right, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Right. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. Okay, so all we need to do now, okay, in our thing here, is basically find out current mode, right, and if she is sitting, right, we branch. If she isn't sitting, we don't do anything, right? Because that's the default camera setup. Whereas if she's not, if she is sitting, we just lerp to sit. Lerp to sitting. That's it. Job's a good one. Okay, let's go. There we go. How's about that then? Okay. So we actually, to be fair, we actually probably want this further up the chain, right? Like here. Want this further up the chain of events, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it over here. Basically so you won't actually notice at doing it, because at the end of the day, if you're sitting down to start with, then you don't really need the camera to see the camera at that point. Okay. It should even probably come before that, but actually, hang on a second. Is this actually going to work? Yep. And there you go, folks. So you get a nice camera angle either way. Okay. Okay, hope you get your stuff working, laddies. So now we have a very, very much nice and smoother transition there. Tidy that up. We can probably tidy these up, but hey ho, we can delete these. And we can drag them in a bit. Okay. Now, I've got one more thing to check on this, which is basically, yep, that still works beautifully. That's me pressing the move button, by the way. So you can get up by pressing the get up button or the sit down stand up button, or you can do it by, like, I'm pressing J, right? I've got J. Okay, now if I press WASD, which is my movement keys at the moment, then she stands up. And there we go. Cool. So, that's all rather nice, I've got to say. And what I think I'll do, we're going to tidy this up just a shade. Okay, and we'll move these up. And I didn't want to do that. And we'll basically comment these as sitting to standing, and we'll font that up to, I think, about 40, and then we go with black. Okay. And there we go. Right, now, while I am considering what to do next, I think we shall do a little bit of tidying up here. Okay. If we can. Right. This, I'm going to say 40. Okay. These are test things usually up here. I usually put these up here. And this is the NPC talking part. Hi Cassadell Gaming, how are you bud? Today. So what I did want to do was the other night there, we were checking on our, basically shooting at bad guys. Okay, now we can shoot him, and what we found was, right, yeah, that we couldn't interact. Right? And you'll notice that there's some weird things going on. Okay, so we need to sort this out. Now, I don't think our wildlife is getting destroyed. Okay. So, we need this. Okay. And we need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of that. I know, I'm being mental here, but it needs done. Just, I'm on a little bit of a clear thought moment where I kind of know what's going on. Right, is dead, is set. This should actually be is dead, is not set. Okay. That can stay. We can save that. Now the next thing we need to check and it doesn't appear to be in here. Right, is in our actual wildlife itself. We need to see if this is actually being called. Okay. And we need to tidy this up. Now I did know that there was some weird stuff going on with this because I changed it all for basically because of the arrow cam, right? Now this leads us on to other couple of issues, but we'll deal with that in a second. Right, you'll notice that that is not good. So on result change both. Right, we basically want, what we want here is this to immediately jump out into here, okay? When we fire. Right, so that's good. Okay, but you'll notice we never hit a breakpoint, so we never destroyed it. Okay? So whatever we're doing here, at the moment I'm 100% on the project because I don't have a job. It's a long story. I normally do, well, I've done a bit of everything really. I've done research, I've done government stuff, I've done manufacturing, I've done all sorts, commercial. Usually like, well, a lot of SQL stuff. Right? Now, what we need to do here is find out exactly what's going on when we shoot the wildlife. Okay? Because the problem is, we're not hitting this. Right? For whatever reason. Right? We're doing this kill animal. Okay, but in our in here, this is going to have a kill animal. Right, this is the part that we need to know about, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to enable, if you've got a job, I'll take it. but we'll see how it goes. Right, so this is beginning to be, we're going to need to tidy this up, right? Because originally this was the get shot, right? And what happened was it would basically say, right, run about for X amount of time before we actually die, right? But because of the arrow cam, we basically want them to see the animal die, right? So when they hit it, so the animal is going to drop down dead when we hit it, so that the arrow cam can see that happening, okay? Which is all good, right? So basically a lot of this code is either not quite right or is redundant now. So we need to find out what is actually going on so that we can actually do the right thing, right? Because you'll notice this one sets is dead to true, okay? And then starts a death timer, but we don't want to start a death timer. And then this one does exactly the same thing. Event kill animal. Right, so event kill animal should actually just destroy it after X amount of time, right? Which is the amount of time Okay, I think the best idea here is the arrow basically tells the animal it's been hit, okay? So if we go into hunting and we hit arrow, right, you'll see here it sets the has been shot, okay? Which is fine, right? Because we go into here and we go into here and has been shot sets is dead to true. Okay, so that's all good. Now, I don't think this ever runs, but we'll find out in a minute. Well, I don't think it runs now, is what I'm saying, right? But we need to add something to say remove at the correct time, basically remove this. Right. So, event has been, he's been shot. Resume. And then it faffs up. Okay. Now, I think a bit of the weirdness that was going on there is because you'll notice as well this never ran. Or actually, I'll tell you what, we'll let it run through, okay? Okay. So you'll notice that never ran. Okay? So kill animal never ran. Okay. So now that we know that's the case, we could delete it, but I'm not gonna. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. Okay? And I'm going to say destroy actor. Okay? And then in here, wow, that is destroying self. Okay, but there might be a problem here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a breakpoint here to see if it's actually hitting there. And you can see that it never hits there. Okay, so we've got a problem in this code here. Okay, we have a problem here somewhere, basically. So I'm going to enable the breakpoint. And we're going to press play. Right. So it did come in here. Step over. And that didn't work. Okay. So we need to check on that, what's going on. There's something to do with the dead animal here. So it's when we set up our dead animals, right? Which might take us into another huge detour, but a detour that we're going to have to take anyway. So, with that in mind, I'm going to have a quick break for a cigarette. So, if you're enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe, it's appreciated, and check out the description for the Groenland Discord server and my personal Discord server, plus links to the Patreon where you can support the channel and my previous game on Steam. I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay guys, we're back. See you later, Cassadell Gaming. Nice to see you again. Always nice to see familiar faces. Right, so we need to check on this, right? Because obviously our dead BP is nothing, so we're going to run it again. Okay, now there are still some issues with this, but we need to make sure that this thing okay, so step over, step over. Now we don't know what this is yet. Step over. Nothing. Right, so there's the problem right there. Or at least one of them. Okay. So we need to find out base wildlife. We've got dead BP. Okay. We need to find out where it is set up. Now it's going to be in the stag. Okay. Alright, Casa. Right. So, right, wait a minute here. We can set it here. So now step over. Now we're getting somewhere. Right. Now, we know that it wasn't basically creating the interactable item. And now it is. Okay. So that's cool. The only thing was that our animal isn't fallen down dead. Okay, immediately. Which is a bit of an issue. Okay. So we're going to keep an eye on this. As soon as we shoot, it should jump to here, right? As soon as we hit it, basically. Okay. Now it does, but for some reason it's not playing our animation, which kind of suggests that none of this is getting fired, which would be fine. We'll add a breakpoint there. Then we'll go to here and we'll see what's happening here. Now it isn't actually in here, right? It's in our wildlife. When we hit it, we're doing has been shot. Okay? So we haven't got a has been shot there. This is our has been shot. Okay. The interesting thing is we need to do this. Paste that into here. Okay. And now it should work. Oh, somehow I missed that. Okay, resume, 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 resume. Kinda worked. So we definitely did shoot it, right? Now, one of the things that I thought of earlier, I'm kind of good at this after X amount of years doing this, is if actually that's okay. Disable that, resume. Disable that, resume. Disable that, resume. Disable that, resume. But as you can see, something not quite right. I want to do that again. Did I actually hit that there? Apparently I did. Right, what I want to do is right, when we basically the funny thing is, way back in the day, I actually had a mobile phone shop, and now I don't even have a mobile phone. This is way back in the day, of course. Okay, so the issue here is yeah, you can take a look. So what we're doing here is we need to find out where we attach our camera, sorry, our arrow, right? So the only thing is under has been shot. Okay. And this is where has been shot is. This is BP Wildlife. Now the only other place it could be is here, but not here. Oh, I don't have a CV. CVs are for first time jobs. Right. We're trying to figure out here where our arrow gets attached. Okay. Right. That's the camera, not the arrow. I'm having a brain freeze on this one, where this camera is, or sorry, where I attach the arrow, and it's definitely not there. Right, now I wouldn't have done it here, it would probably have to be, here it is here, right? Now I'm not saying, I'm going to say keep relative on this one, and probably this socket can go as well. Right. Doesn't help trying to develop games when you're not really good at these type of games. I missed again. Oh my god. Can we just shoot the thing, please? Apparently I'm not a very good shot. I think I've just proven the case here. Right, there's something weird going on again. Right, so there's definitely something weird going on. And let's check this out again, will we? Right. So that was right, but it kind of wasn't. I think we might not do this. I think it might be because we are doing this again. Right, I'm going to not do this and see what effect it has. Because what we're doing is we're actually doing it up here. We're setting it in here. We're setting the anim instance, but we're not actually setting the state. So set new. Okay, so that's not it either. I'll see what I can do for you, Cassadell Gaming, okay? My problem is I'm too old. I'm way too old. So if we go back to here, this is base wildlife, right? This is AIC animal. So we can't do that per se. We can do get a reference to self. Interesting indeed. So That's a task. Yeah, software development and all that stuff's considered a young man's game, and if there's one way to not describe me, it's as a young man. No matter how much I try to fool myself. Bit unfortunate, but there you go. Right. Right, so that works. And what I'm going to do, so I can shoot the two of them, is I'm going to set this one up with stag, stag. Okay. Right, you see that? It doesn't bounce out. Right, so what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to check this out. It doesn't seem to be jumping straight in here if it's anything other than right, and I've completely forgot if it's result or value. I'm sure it's values that I want here. And of course, value, that's result. Alright, let's just change them all to value. Right. Value. Right, we'll change these to both. Now we're going to have to shoot each of the different things on value, on value, on value, right, on value, on value, and finally, well, we're not doing anything with that yet, so we may as well disconnect it so it doesn't interfere with anything and doesn't muddy the waters. Okay, so we need to figure out why things aren't happening. Okay. So that worked. Now, interestingly, that didn't work. I don't think. Okay. We want to see now. Okay. I think what's happening, right, is that it's not ready to come out of the okay. Now I missed that. That's an interesting problem to have. Let me try something, right? I've had a thought about this. Now, if we go to our stag animation blueprint, right? What I'm thinking is I'm going to copy this, right? What I am thinking is if any of these are playing, every one of them should be able to go to this thing here. Right? Now, of course, the problem... See, the thing is, right, these can only come out of here if it's finished sleeping or anything like that, which is why it's not jumping straight to here. It's basically finishing off. Right, so if it's here, going down to sleep and then sleeping, right, it's not immediately getting changed. Okay, so in actual fact, this should be here as well for every single one of these, right? These should immediately jump out of here. Okay. So I'm going to copy this. Okay. And this should have this one as well. Okay, and we want to remove that pin, compile that, right? And then this one is going to have and I just bloomin' did it, didn't I? It wasn't that one. It was this one. Right, we need a pin here. So we get that. Or that. And that goes in there. We can delete that. And then kinda tidy that up a bit. Okay. I know rudimentary Spanish, okay? Rudimentary. And by rudimentary, I mean very rudimentary. Right, so this, we can paste that in there. We can remove that pin. And we can go to there. Now, this might completely muck everything up, right? Right, so that's okay. And we should be able to go like that. Paste that in there. Remove that pin. And go to there. Right. And yeah, paste that in there. I don't know what Beccario taster is. We need engineers in implementation, 5 engineers. I'm guessing that's testing and preventer. I'm guessing that's testing. There's some description design engineers part for AIOPS. I don't know what AIOPS is either. So it sounds like they need 5 test engineers plus I'm kind of busy with something, Marius Grassox. Right, we'll save that. And finally, if we paste that in there, remove that, put that in there. Okay. I think the best idea is to just go back to the start of this, because this is like a third person. It's got similarities to the way Resident Evil works. But the thing is that, I mean, it really depends, because it depends on what Resident Evil you're talking about. Are you talking about the first one? Or are you talking about, I mean, it's not going to happen anyway, right? Because I'm full time on this. So there is that, but right. So there we go. But thank you for asking, Marius. I appreciate the fact that you think I can do it in the first place. Right. So it looks like, to me, it looks like he was grazing there. I'll not be able to do it, but most of the things that you'll have to do are in this series, like inventory management, all that type of thing. I think you'll be waiting a while. Oh, thank you, Marius. I do appreciate it. I'm not dismissing you, it's just I've got so much on my plate with this. It's just not realistic, and I don't want to build your hopes up. Right. So it looks to me like that was the grazing thing. Right? Is dead equals dead. Right, let's see what I think I'm going to have to, what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to remove one of the deer, right, and find out what state they're in. Right, so that worked. Okay. And that worked. Okay, but there seems to be some instances where, right, I'm going to do that, right? Now, the reason I'm doing this is so that they're not interfering with each other. So in our stag, right, we can basically go into our animation blueprint, right? And we can find out what state the animal is in when we shoot it. right? And then we can tell from that what is working and what is not. Right, we're not going to be able to print string off of that pin, but we can turn it into a friendly and then do it, and it'll do that itself if I do that. Right, so we've only got one stag on the screen, right? And what we need to do is we need to work out, we need to shoot it in each of the different right. So there we go. We want to press play again, and basically we want to catch it while it's eating or something, right? There it goes, grazing. Right. Right, it's down sleeping. Okay. So, what we want to see here, right, is if we go back to our animation. Now, we know it was doing that. We can say or, right? We saved that. We're going to do a save all, right? Thanks, Marius. We think it's cool. At least we're hoping people think it's cool and buy it, and it'll be great. Right. So we want him to lie down. If we shoot him like that, fine. Okay. Right, lie down. There we go. Now the problem there is he isn't going into his sleep. It isn't going into the right animation from there. Right, he is standing up, but then he isn't moving into the dead. What I'm going to do, we're going to paste that, right? And going to do that. And the funny thing is, Cassadale Gaming, I would say don't do that. Try to use or try to learn how to do it yourself without using other stuff. Right, because you need to get... Okay, Marius, have fun. Okay, so I am wondering here why. Right, sleep. Right, moving to new position. Right, that works absolutely fine. Okay, sleep in. Not so good. Or I missed. Right, he's sleeping again. Now I think he was getting up there. Okay. So I tell you what, right? Better idea. What I'll do is in here, right? When he goes to sleep, right? We'll make him wait for a lot longer, which will give me time to shoot him. Yeah, Cass, so the way I look at it, right, is the likes of assets and tutorials on YouTube. The only time, or let me put it this way, I use them as I come at them from a different point of view, right? If I want a tutorial on anything, then I won't use their code, right? Or blueprints or whatever. What I do is look at the major things that they're teaching you to do and then implement it myself. Right? You don't need to buy courses on C++ and that. You just need to look at some basic fundamentals of programming, right? Now, C++ is obviously, if you're going to be, pedantic about it, it's probably the best one because that's basically, you can use C++ in Unreal Engine. But the point is that all you need are the fundamentals of programming, right? Because, as I said, the blueprints basically follow the fundamentals, right? Because they are based on C++, right? All of this stuff is basically just connecting to C++ in the back end, right? So all your loops and your casting and your setting bools, all the rest of it, this is just calls to C++. That's all it is, right? Now, it's not going to do you any harm to do a course in C++, right? But I certainly wouldn't say that it's absolutely required or anything. Right, so he's resting, and I missed. Right, actually, you know what? I actually need to extend these out a bit. Okay, because even the resting and stuff. Right, so that's alerted. Right, so we can change that to 10. We can bring these back down again, right, once we've checked them to be working, right? In fact, we can basically bring them down in practically nothing once we check that they're working, each different status, right? Grazing, okay? But fundamentally, Casa, all you need is the fundamentals, then you can use blueprints, right? If you want to extend into C++, then you can, right? If you're a beginner, I would say don't even bother about it right now. The thing to do is do your stuff in blueprints. Use your knowledge that you've gained from C++ and the basics like loops, arrays, branching, blah blah, all that stuff, right? And then if you want to transition it into C++, then do exactly that. Start transitioning it over, because it's quite easy to. There's a few videos out there on it, pretty good ones, on how you basically like move functions or move blueprints into C++, right? And that's the way I do it, right? I do the development mostly in blueprints and then move them over. But of course, you only need to do that if you think it's going to make a big difference to the performance, right? And there's certain things where it won't, right? Right, so he's alerted. Right, when he's alerted, it doesn't happen. Okay, so we know there's a problem with alerted. Under normal circumstances, I would most likely start writing these down. Okay. So we know we need a paste there. And that can go there. And that can go there. Okay. So we can now test this one. Now he was resting, but because I'm such a poor shot, right, so when he's resting, it's not doing the business for us. Now we did do that. And we did do that. And we are doing that. We are doing that. And we are doing that. Interesting. Right, well, I'm gonna have to figure this one out. So he's alerted at this point. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna have to set different. Okay. Here's the issue, I believe. Right. I think the issue is this. You'll notice this particular thing takes 2 seconds, okay? Now, the death only takes less, it's about 2.4 seconds, right? So basically what's happening is it's not got enough time, right? It's not got enough time to basically transition. Right? Which means that by the time it gets to here and to here, the transition time is over, right? And it can't do it. So it's trying to transition to here to then transition to here, but it can't do that, right? So it appears to me that each of these needs an is shot thing while it's doing it, right? So it's like a duplicate this. Or everything's got a transition from here to here, right? So we can basically not really, Grim. It's, see, what's happening is we need it to transition straight out of any of these states straight to dead, right? And the problem is that these transitions, to be natural, have got to take a little bit of time, right? Or they basically snap to the next animation, right? Which is bad, right? Now that's all fine, but it really means that each of these need an instant snap to the is shot, right? If it's dead, right? So in theory, this one can go, right? Because normally they sit down, then they rest, then they go back to idle, right? Now, if they are shot in any of these particular states, then we need it to jump straight to here, rather than blend back to idle, then go back to here, okay? But it's a good question, okay? And I'm just trying to think if there's a better way of doing this here, because obviously this is going to become spaghetti central, because if I've got every single thing going to is shot, that's going to be a blooming mess. Anyway, thanks for the feedback, Grimson. It was an interesting one, but a sequence doesn't really help. A sequence is just playing a movie, right? But at the end of the day, I still have to set the states and move back to the correct state. But in this case, I need to actually bypass it, right? Now, in actual fact, I could bypass it. There might be a way around this. If I override yes, I could have more shots. Yes, I could do that, right? The problem with that, and it isn't, well, it's not technically a problem as such, but the thing about that is I would have is shot 1, is shot 2, is shot 3, is shot 4, is shot 5, is shot 6, right? Which ain't so great. But what I'm thinking here is to play a montage, in which case I can override these montages, or sorry, these animation loops, right? So if I do that, I can kind of bypass this when they get shot, which is probably a better idea. So I'm going to have a look at that off stream. So if you've enjoyed the content, hit the like and subscribe, it's much appreciated. Check out the description and join the Discord server for Groenland, or my personal Discord server, links in the description. You can support the channel through Patreon, and there's my previous game on Steam for a solitary single $1, and it's called FTD2, and it's a tower defense game. So thank you for joining, thank you for joining in the chat. I hope to see you again. I'll be back at 8 PM tonight Central. Bye bye for now.